Hey, how's it going everyone? It's me, It's Count, here with a brand new Pokemon GO discussion video. So I wanted to talk about whether or not Niantic is scamming their players when it comes to this Johto Tour event. At least that's how a lot of players are starting to feel in terms of the shiny releases, and I really do think there's a lot of points that we really do need to discuss when it comes to this Johto Tour event and how Niantic is handling it. I'm going to be talking about all of that in today's video, so let's roll the intro and jump right into it. Okay, so we're about a month away from the Johto Tour event in Pokemon GO, and this is of course going to be the second most hyped up event of 2022. The first, of course, being Pokemon GO Fest, which is likely to happen in the middle of the summer, but until we get there, we have the Johto Tour event. Now, if it's going to be anything like the Kanto Tour event that we had last year, it's definitely going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to generate a lot of excitement among Pokemon GO players. Of course, one of the big highlights of the Kanto Tour event last year was the release of all of the unreleased shinies in Gen 1, and this year with the Johto Tour event, it's going to be the same thing, only with the Gen 2 shinies that we still haven't gotten yet in the game. Now, this is where a lot of players are starting to debate whether or not Niantic is actually scamming their players. So, what am I talking about? Well, first of all, when the tickets went live for the Johto Tour event, there were exactly 16 unreleased shinies from the Johto region. But now, after the announcement of Hop-Hip Community Day, which is of course going to be happening a couple of weeks before the Johto Tour event, there's only going to be 9 unreleased shinies at the time the event occurs. And a lot of players are feeling like they got ripped off because of course they went and bought their tickets as soon as they went live because they wanted a chance at getting any of the 16 new shinies. But of course, once we get to the event, there's only going to be 9 new shinies, and a lot of players are feeling a little bit disgruntled. I could totally understand that if the only goal you had was to get a whole bunch of new shinies. I mean, this is going to be a huge blow to shiny hunters, that is for sure. But for me personally, I actually think the value of the ticket is still withheld, and that is of course because for me personally, it's going to be more about the experience. Especially when I compare it to last year's Kanto Tour event, I really felt like the value of the ticket was met through the player experience. There was a lot of fun activities throughout the day, and the fact that they had this really cool themed event as well as this catch challenge that was extremely rewarding, I really felt like that was the value of the ticket itself. And of course, there was a huge community aspect to it as well, considering that we did need to trade with some of our friends in order to complete those catch challenges. I just thought the entire event was constructed really well, and the shinies were actually an afterthought for me. But of course, I'm not the average player. I don't necessarily care about shinies unless they are a really high IV, because of course I'm a Shundo hunter, but for a lot of other players, getting a shiny regardless of the IVs is more to their liking when it comes to Pokemon GO. So I can totally understand why they would feel upset regarding this whole thing. There was a lot of hype around the Johto shinies that have been unreleased because there's so many of them. But now it seems like over time they trickled out a couple of Johto shinies here and there, and now it seems like there's only half of the amount of unreleased shinies that we originally had. And for a lot of players, that may take away some of the excitement because their whole aim for the event was to collect a whole bunch of new shinies. I really do think this is kind of a fumble on Niantic's part. Maybe this was also very intentional, and if it was, then that is kind of shady. But I really feel like leading up to the Johto Tour event, they should have withheld on releasing any shinies from the Johto region, especially when it comes to the Community Day, because I really feel like not only will this increase the number of sales of the ticket, but I do think that for a lot of players who already purchased the ticket, this is going to feel a little bit of a low blow. I think the community has done a really good job of voicing their concerns regarding this whole issue, and I really do think that when it comes to Niantic, they've been on a really good streak lately when it comes to their in-game events as well as their mechanics. Sure, there's a lot of work that needs to be done when it comes to Pokemon Go, especially when it comes to the Go Battle League, but I really do think that Pokemon Go is in a really good place. I just think that when it comes to these sort of little issues, they have to be really careful, because right now what they really need to focus on is building up a lot of trust and a lot of goodwill with the community, and having little missteps like this is definitely going to go against that. But regardless, I still am really excited about the Johto Tour event. Again, for me, it's going to be all about the experiences. I'm really curious to see if they're going to try out something new this year compared to last year's Kanto Tour event, but even if they don't and they keep the format very similar, I think I'm going to have a lot of fun. Of course, recently, they also announced that you will be able to catch a whole bunch of Chanseys during this event, and that is of course because you will probably need to get Blissey somehow in order to complete the catch challenges. But yeah, I think that's just another added bonus, because for me personally, I'm always looking for Chansey candies, and just in general, I just think there's a lot to look forward to with big events like this. I do like the fact that they're trying to branch out from Pokemon Go Fest and having other big landmark events similar to this, and I'm really curious to see if they are going to try another event at the end of the year so that they have 3 landmark events every single year. I think that would be a really cool thing, because in my opinion, I think the ideal scenario would be to have 3 events at 3 different times of the year so that the hype train for Pokemon Go continues on. Like if they were to have a Generation Tour event like the Kanto Tour or the Johto Tour event at the beginning of the year, then they could have Pokemon Go Fest in the middle of the year, and then maybe some kind of Super Safari Zone at the end of the year, so that overall we have some really cool landmark events to look forward to at any point every year. Because after the Johto Tour event, all of the hype is going to start building up towards Pokemon Go Fest. And after Pokemon Go Fest ends, there really isn't too much to look forward to in Pokemon Go aside from the little events and hoping that those little events actually deliver. And it seems like that's been the pattern for the last couple of years, and I really would like to see Niantic branch out and just focus a lot on Pokemon Go's player base and their own player experiences. Because even though people have their gripes regarding this Johto Tour event and the shiny releases, I really do think it's still going to be a successful event, and a lot of people are going to be having a lot of positive experiences with it, and I do think it's going to build up a lot of momentum leading up to Pokemon Go Fest, and I do predict that Pokemon Go Fest is going to be extremely good this year. I've heard some rumblings that they're going to be trying out some really unique things this particular year, and I'm excited to see what it ends up becoming. But yeah, these are all my thoughts regarding the Johto Tour event, but of course this is a hot topic issue as of right now, especially now that we're getting really close to the Johto Tour event, so I would love to know your thoughts down below. Are you extremely unhappy that Niantic released a whole bunch of Johto shinies leading up to this event, or are you someone who is more interested in the player experience? Let me know down below and let's have a great discussion. And yeah, if you ended up enjoying this video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And I am Count Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you all later.